Hey everyone, welcome to our meeting. We're so glad you're here. I just wanted to touch base with you and talk a little bit today about relationships. And it's funny because I just got off a call with Jean and Genevieve, and one of the things that he was talking about was relationships. It's funny that I had prepared this and then give me 2 seconds. I'm so sorry. I had a dog whining as well. Um, so um, my husband also yesterday at work was talking about relationships. So I feel like there's so much talk around relationships right now. And that really is key to our business, is loving people and just loving on people and building those relationships. So what I want to do first is I want to share my screen with you. Let's see. That's not the one. That's the one. Okay.
One is too small of a number to achieve greatness. And the moment that you understand that the people that you have around you, they're either your number one asset. To be honest with you, they could be your number one liability. But the moment that you understand that and begin to value people, I think that is what creates the connection. And so I think that giving value to people and expressing that is the common ground that builds relationships. The key to leading people, even if you're not in a leadership environment, is again, influence. So the question now comes to, then how do I influence people? And if I do influence people, how do I increase that influence? And my answer is very simple. We increase the influence with people when we intentionally add value to them on a consistent basis. Because if you think about it, they've really added a lot of value to you. And so what I share, I do a little simple for it, but kind of much. And that is every day, again, consistency compounds. So you put consistency with intentionality, and you've got a powerful combination. So every day I basically do 5 things. Every day, first of all, I value people. It begins there. Because if I don't truly value people, I won't add value to them. You don't add value to people that you don't value. You don't add value to anything you value. So every day I value people. That's where it starts. But then every day I think of ways to add value to people. So I mean, I'll look at my calendar and I look at my agenda today and I realize I was going to be with you. And I think, well, okay, how can I add value to you? What can I do for impact theory that'll, just help? Because again, if you're constantly adding value to people, you're going to be of great value to people. So, okay, if I value people, think of ways to add value to people, then I look for ways to add value to people. When I'm in the setting, I'm looking for, okay, what can I do? What can I say? What we see is what we look for. And so if I'm looking to add value, guess what? I'll see ways to add value to it. Somebody else might be beside you, not add value at all to you. But I look for ways. And then number four, I do things that add value. And then number five, I encourage others to add value. And I've just lived that simple formula. I do that every day of my life. It's very simple. And I try to help other people do that, understanding that if they do that, wherever they are, leadership culture, not a leadership culture, doesn't really matter. They'll begin to influence and begin to lead people to begin to make a difference in people's lives. And I think that's essential. But I think you have to be intentional. I think you have to be consistent. Consistency compounds.
Okay. Well, there we go. So, were y'all able to hear that? Okay. Need to change my screen view. I can't see. I want to see everyone. I can't see everyone. There we go. Were y'all, yes, no, were y'all able to hear that and see that video?
Some of it kind of faded out, but I got the gist of it.
Okay. So the video is John Maxwell, How to Build Relationships That Lead to Success. And so I thought that was so impactful, especially for, had great reminders for us, because really what we're doing is about the relationship, right? So if anybody has a takeaway, you can type it, you can unmute yourself. I would love to hear some takeaways. Because I had a couple, but I want to hear yours. Okay, then I'll tell you my takeaways. I loved his 5 things that he does daily, but we have to value people, right? Nina said being consistent in adding value to them. Love that. We don't want to just make a sell, right? We have to value people in order to value people. I like to think of ways we can value people. We actually have to value them. If we're not valuing people, people know that, right? If we're just messaging them to make that sell, they know that. But if we're taking into consideration their needs, their issue, their problem, and we're trying to solve it for them, not for us to win a prize or to get a bigger paycheck or make the next rank, people see that and they will respect that, right? And we have integrity when we do that. So his 5 things were value people, think of ways you can value someone, and then look for ways you can add value, and then do things to add value and encourage others to add value. And that's what we do as a team, right? Like as a team, we're encouraging each other to add value to people daily. And then my biggest takeaway from that was consistency with intentionality compounds. Consistency with intentionality. We can be consistent in our posting daily, but if we're not intentional about adding value to people, we may not grow as fast as we want to, right? And so those were big lessons for me is, yeah, it's easy for me to throw a post on Facebook, but how am I adding value, number one, and how am I adding value to people, and how am I loving on them? Okay. In the chat, I know, I think, who was it? Was it Nicole that was driving? Yes, Nicole's driving. So you don't have to do it, Nicole. But what are some things that we value in our daily life? What are some things that we value? I value my family. I value my relationship with the Lord. Friendship, that's something that we value. What are some things that may not be as pretty that we value? And what I mean by that is sometimes it's embarrassing to say it, right? I value my car or my house maybe a little more than I should, right? Or the clothes I wear, or there's things that we maybe put more value towards than people, right? Is what I'm trying to get at. Is sometimes we value things over people. Or our bank account. Maybe we value our bank account. And I'm not saying these things are wrong. I'm just saying maybe they shouldn't have the importance that we give them. Shonda said, someone giving us their time, integrity, honesty, and a good cup of coffee. Yep, that's a great, yes, that is awesome. So what sorry about that. So I want to use pets as an example of how we value something. Okay, so take our pets. I do value my pets. I love my pets dearly, maybe a little too much, but I can't help it. And so how do we add value to our pets daily? What are some things that we can do to add value to our pets? We walk them, we feed them, we make sure they're indoors if it's over 100 degrees, show up to care for them, pet them, love on them. And those are all good things. But our pets, can they really add value back? Yes, they give us someone to love on, right? And they give us that unconditional love. Yes. Other than that, do they do anything to add value to your life? No, they can't. They can't. They can love us. which is amazing. And I'm not saying that that's not a good thing, because trust me, I snuggle my dogs every night. But they can't add value besides the unconditional love they give, right? It's not like they can do things for us. So if we love our pets like that, and the one thing they give in return is that snuggles and the love, right? But we pour into them daily because we love them. That's how we should be treating people, because God created people, right? He created every human being, and we should be pouring into and loving people, whether they can give something back to us or not. Okay. And that's really what I'm getting at, is we've got to pour into people and value people in those relationships. We have to constantly pour in to people, just like we would our dogs, without expectations, because people, y'all, are gonna let us down. They're gonna continuously let us down. And because they're broken, we're all broken, right? We all have our issues, and people are gonna come and go. They're gonna come and go in our business. They're gonna come and go in our lives, but we need to invest and add value into others as much as possible. So what are some ways that we can invest in others? What are some ways in our business, I want you to think about it, that we could invest in others? And yes, who said that? Going back just real quick, Nita said inanimate objects are fleeting. You're right. You're so right. And then Shonda just said caring about other successes more than our own, being there for them to pick them up. That, yes, spot on. That's when we know that we're valuing somebody, when we want their success over our own, when we want to see somebody else succeed more than we want to see ourselves self succeed, right? Like you're helping somebody with their products, and your end goal really is to help them be successful on those products, or to help them build a successful business, not with your rank in mind, but with theirs, or with their testimony in mind, with their health in mind, with their, so yes, Shonda, spot on. Listening to them with our whole attention and value them for who they are in their time of need. Absolutely. And I'm going to show another quick video at the end. And it goes right along with that. We have to listen and know who people are. And so that's not always easy, y'all. Relationships can get messy. They can get ugly, but we have to be willing to try and pour into them. So that's something, well, that part wasn't, but Jean today on our call, if you saw yesterday, Rodan and Fields just went to, they basically no longer have ambassadors like us. And so, and that's maybe the third skincare company recently that has done this. And so Jean today was reminding us that they're committed, A, to network marketing, but B, that we are different than other companies. Other companies run their businesses off of spreadsheets. We run our business off of relationships. And so they care about us as people. They don't just look at us as a number. And that's how we should be treating our customers and our teams of ambassadors as well. We are a private, profitable company. We're debt-free, and our comp plan is unique, right? It's unique in that it does really, anybody can make money in this business. So, and he said today too, he said nothing replaces us being in person together. And that goes back to that relationship, right? These Zooms are great, but if we could sit around a table together and have a conversation, how much better would that be? Because we could interact and laugh and really get to know each other even better. So I agree, Shonda. I am so grateful for our culture and our leadership. I agree with you. Going back, Shonda also said, cheer loudly for those people. Cheer loudly for them. When we let our own goals and our own circumstances get in the way, we cheer a lot quieter, don't we? Like, well, I wanted to rank this month, or I wanted to win the Ninja Creamy. you know what? We should be shouting from the rooftops and cheering each other on as loudly as we can. And I love that. I totally agree with you, Shonda. Um, so y'all already said it, listen, so we can ask questions. Don't tell people what they need. Ask open-ended questions, let them tell you what you're needing, and then you can guide them, right? It's really easy for me to just go triplex. Triplex wins for everything because I've had great success with triplex. But what if that's not what somebody else needs? What if they only need the ProBio 5 and the BioCleanse? And I'm not going to get credit for a new VIP with 100 PV. Is that okay? I need to be okay with that, right? Because I need what my customer or my VIP needs. Follow up, y'all. Follow up is where I can fall short sometimes. But the follow-up, if we're continuously following up with those people and listening, like y'all said, once again, going back to listening and building those relationships. Sometimes if we have that relationship there, it's not what they say, it's what they do, and we can see and gather more information. Does that make sense? So, here maybe they're saying, oh, Plexus doesn't work for me, but we've built that relationship with them and we know they're struggling in their business. So we can look at everything, and because we're listening and we're watching and we know them as people instead of just another customer. And we have to be honest and build that integrity or show that integrity in all cases. So y'all are spot on. I know y'all know these things, but I thought it was kind of ironic that my husband's talking to his team in real estate about relationships. I had already pulled together some stuff on relationships, and then then Jean today was talking about relationships, and I thought, okay, I think we're spot on. Just to remember that relationships do matter and that they're so important. I thought this was really neat. This is something my husband shared with his team yesterday. Now he's in real estate, so this kind of goes with real estate, but I just wanted to read it to you because I thought this was so impressive. So he was reading an article on Ross Perot Jr. in his development company. It's called Hillwood, and their successes even during a difficult market period. And here's what stood out to my husband. They're a multi-million-dollar company with an extensive client base, impressive pedigrees, and a deep transaction portfolio. But he read this quote by Ross Perot Jr. Ross Perot Jr. said, "We don't even use the term landlord. These are our customers. These are our customers. These are our friends. Landlord tenant is a little too rough. We really work hard to take care of the client base. That's how we continue to win." So he doesn't even use certain words like landlord because those are their friends. And I love that because this is this huge multi-million-dollar company, right? And they're making sure those relationships are the most important and that those people feel like they are friends of theirs as well and not just a number. So I love that. I hope you did too. And then I just wanted to real quick share this with you. When you're watching and when you're listening and when you're truly building those relationships, what can happen. Now, this is a student-teacher interaction, but I think it really shows us what can happen when we build relationships. So give me just a second. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see.
Being a professional speaker was not something that I grew up wanting to be. Every time I would go to class, it was just hard for me to sit still. I had a hard time focusing. I would move, I would tap, and I got sent to the principal's office. Principal told me to sit on my hands, and that worked for about 5 seconds. As soon as I'd sit on my hands, then my feet would start tapping. But one day there was a teacher, and he looked at me in class as I was tapping, and he said, "Clint, I need you to stay after class." And I'm thinking to myself, this is it. I am going to get kicked out of school as a 10-year-old. Bell rang, class dismissed. He pulled up a big chair and a little chair, and he said, "Sit down." And he said, "I watch what you do." He said, "You tap in my class, you'll do something with your right hand. You'll do something completely different with your left hand." And he said, "In big adult words, we call that ambidextrous. Can you tap your head and rub your belly at the same time?" I gave it a go and I could do it. And then he said, now switch it. Without thinking about it, I could do it. And he leaned back in his chair and he laughed for a minute. He looked at me and he said, Clint, I don't think you're a problem. I just think you're a drummer. That was the beginning of my story. Had the opportunity to tour and record all over the world playing drums. Been on America's Got Talent. One person in my life who looked at me and said, you're not a problem, you're an opportunity. Great mentors know how to connect people to their dreams. We need people like that to help us see the possibilities of what could be. There's two important days in a person's life: the day you're born, and then the day you figure out why. Enjoy the journey. The best is yet to come.
So I thought that
Why do I use Navam? No one asked.
was an amazing example of when we look at people as an opportunity and not a problem, or we see, you know, whatever it is as an opportunity to help make somebody better. That's such a blessing that we get to do that, right? Like, it's such an amazing thing that we can do. So, any takeaways from that? Any way that you are personally working on building relationships? Anything that you want to add to that? Let's see. Shonda also said, we all fall short in follow-up. I need this reminder. Let's get busy. Then I get scared to reach out. I'm still a work in progress. You and me both. But follow-up, sometimes people just need to know you care, right? Like, they just need to be seen, and they need to know that you care. And I was actually talking to Jory Russell, and I think his title is VP of Sales. Anyways, the other day, and he was saying, you know, ask them when you first sign them, how much can I follow up, or how much follow-up do you need? How much support do you need? I think is the word. How much support do you need? How much support do you want me to give you? Because if they're like, I need you reaching out 2 and 3 times a week, well, that might be a little much, but it might be what they need, right? Or they might say, yeah, you can reach out to me once a week, or you could reach out to me once every 2 weeks. But it really will show you what they need. And so it's, again, asking those questions, letting them decide. And so when you are reaching out to them on week 3, right, and you've reached out to them 2 other times, you don't feel like a burden because they've told you, hey, a weekly check-in would be great. And so it's just asking those questions, building those relationships. Because Shonda, I do exactly what you do. I've done that for years, where I'm like, oh, I don't want to bother anybody, you know. But when Jory and Jennifer, she is, I'm gonna lose the title right now. Anyways, when I was meeting with them, those are some things that they were saying, and I thought, that's beautiful. Like, that's so easy. And now it's on them and not something I've decided. So, any other questions? Any other ways that you're gonna build relationships this week? Add value to people? Anything? Well, if not, don't forget, we do not have a meeting next Tuesday, but we will have one the following Tuesday. And of course, we have our Real People, Real Stories calls on Thursday nights and our opportunity calls on Sunday nights. Reach out, ask some people to join you, listen, figure out what they need, and add them to the correct call. So anyways, I appreciate y'all so much for being on. I know it's summertime. I know there's a lot going on, but go build those relationships and make it a great day. Bye, guys.